thank you to Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you from wherever you are watching us from. This is Sedat HR Digest, and my name is Supernatural Intem. I am your host for today. Right, we are going to be having a conversation today on the future of remote work. Now, wherever you are watching us from, I would want you to put that in the comment section. Let us know where you are watching us from, and you can also share with us your expectations for today's conversation, right? And keep sharing the link so that we'll get others join us for this insightful session we are about to have. Welcome once again to the HR Digest. Okay, so we'll be going right into the conversation due to the time that we have. It's going to be a very interesting one, and I'll be having Mr. Kojo Vanes join me shortly, and then we dive right into the conversation. So this is the HR Digest coming to you from Sedat Consult again. Let me know in the comment section where you are watching us from, and I'll read that out to our audience. Right. Okay. So we just go into the conversation. I would have Mr. Kojo Vanes join me in.
Hi, Supernatural.
Hi, Mr. Kojo. Good evening.
Hi, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever anybody is. How are you doing?
I'm excellent. How about you?
I've got Jesus. I'm good.
Right. I was just saying that the fact that we are watching and connected from different places alone is a reflection of how the world of work has evolved. And we are going to be having the conversation on remote work. So I can see Emmanuel Answer joining us from Tadi. Emmanuel, we are glad to have you join us. All right. So we just go right into the conversation.
Mm.
Right.
I
I
like
see
I
you.
like your smile. Yeah.
I'm
Beaming
excited.
with. I
I'm
can tell.
Yes, I'm excited about the conversation. Because
I
I think my last time in your sessions, you were really speaking about Gen Z, highlighting so much about Gen Z. I almost thought you had a problem with us, but I'm sure we are going to see how Gen Z has benefited this generation as we have this conversation today. Right. I
right.
see Jeffrey Mark. Okay, Jeffrey says he's watching from Colombia. MD says, I'm excited to learn more about the future of remote work, particularly in
Mm.
Africa. Right. Okay, so
Colombia. That's
yeah.
nice.
All right. So let's just go right into the conversation.
Mm.
So, or you would want to share something briefly before we dive into the conversation?
Okay, so the whole concept of remote work is basically working outside the confines of the usual brick and mortar offices that we are used to. The concept or the idea is not only online working; it's basically bringing work to the convenience of people where they are. And so it
Right.
doesn't necessarily, it's not all the case that when you talk about remote work, it only means that you're going to do it in the comfort of your home. It could
Yeah.
even be satellite offices set up at different locations that you have to go there, which is a bit far off from the mother company or the parent company. So let's just have that understanding when before we start a conversation, so we don't assume that when we talk about remote work, it only means you're going to be in the comfort of your home and
Right.
working from your home, basically.
Right. So I just want you to share with us briefly what you think is the state of remote work now, and then how it's impacting our organizational culture.
Mm. Okay, so I will look at it in two ways. I'll look at it globally, and I'll zoom into to Ghana, which I'm sure by extension it can reflect on Africa. So globally, yes, remote work has caught up with us very fast. I mean, you go on LinkedIn and you have a lot of job advertisements, and 90% of those jobs are asking for remote work or some hybrid across the globe, and that's basically the how much now we are borderless and without boundaries when it comes to the labor market, which means that if you're in Ghana, you are competing not only with Ghanaians, you're competing with South Africans, you're competing with people from Colombia, you're competing with people from Asia, Japan, Korea, you're competing with people from all over the world for the same job that you are applying for. And so in now it broadens the scope and makes it more competitive for job applicants. Now,
Right.
if you should zone into to Ghana or you should zone into the continent Africa, I would not say it's catching up as fast as it is across the globe or in other jurisdictions. In this part of the world, we are still held on to the traditional way of doing things. Yes, some form of remote working is showing up gradually. We are getting used to it, but our culture in itself makes it a bit difficult now. And again, it's because maybe we have a greater part of the generations at the workspace being either the millennials or the generation X, and so it makes it a bit difficult pushing that generation to sit behind the computer like I'm doing with you and talking. I mean, a lot of them will prefer a usual talking point program on TV. I'm not sure you remember that program called Talking Points, Supernatural, do you? Exactly. It used to be a program they showed before a canned drama on Sundays. So a lot of that generation prefer that kind of dialogue, that kind of
Right.
host guest interaction over this internet based kind of interaction. So I'm sure maybe in a decade if we should have that generation move and have more of the millennials and the Generation Z at the workplaces, then remote working would sit more comfortably in our context and in our culture. So basically, yes, that's what I'll say about the current state. I mean, if you should sample companies in Ghana now, I am sure a lot of them have some flexi work, maybe some number of days you work from home, some number of days you work from office. I am not too sure. I'm not sure there are statistics today, so I stand to be corrected. But I am not too sure we have more than 15% of companies in Ghana who do full remote. I doubt. Those who probably will do remote are global or international companies who have offices in Ghana who are working remotely. But Ghanaian-owned companies, domestic companies in Ghana who are making Ghanaian workers do remote, I doubt we can have more than 15%. So yeah, it's catching up gradually. I'm sure the pace and the speed is not as expected, but I'm sure with time it would be better. Yeah.
Right. So just about the difficulty now, and basically because of the nature of your work, you've obviously had a bit of interaction with a few companies, and I know you've observed that some are trying to implement. Now, I want you to let us know if you've observed any challenges that they've come across in implementing remote working.
Okay, so maybe before I speak of the challenges, I mean, I like to always look at it positively first. So probably I can speak on the positives, then maybe I'll zoom in on the negative and the challenges some organizations are facing. So one of the major challenges for an employer, which is the owners of businesses, is that when remote working now, it opens up a larger pool of talent for them. Unlike before, where you are only looking at people in Ghana who you can get to apply for a job in your company. With remote working now, you are open to people from all over the world. I mean, today we have somebody from Colombia joining us.
Yeah.
We have people from the United States. I'm sure if they are awake by this time, be joining us, or if they've closed from church by this time, be joining us. What it means is that for an employer who before was only going to concentrate on Ghanaian, University of Ghana or tech graduates, now they are going to contend with Harvard graduates. They are going to contend with John Hopkins graduates. They are going to contend with Cambridge graduates. They are going to contend with Kenya University graduates. They are going to contend with Namibia University graduates. So all over. And so now the pool of talent, it's wider and it's broader for an employer. So it gives the employer a bit of luxury to set and get the best for their companies. So one of the possible, again, the flexibility that comes with it gives a bit of room to the employees to be more relaxed and produce more. I mean, if you are working from the comfort of your home, or you're working from a cell site that is closer to your home, what it means is that you spend less travel time, and you can convert all that travel time into more work and give more out to your employer in terms of productivity. And it reduces your stress. I mean, you have no idea. I sit in traffic early in the morning. I leave home around 5:30. I get to the office at 8. That's like 2 hours, 30 minutes traffic. Imagine if I was working from home, what I can do within that 2 hours, 30 minutes. What it means is that I'll probably start working for my employer from 5:30. And I probably will not even have closing time, because I'll be bringing my lunch to sit by my computer, eating and working. Unlike in the office where I have to walk or take a 1 hour break to go and eat. And so I work more. I get to produce more for my employer, and my employer gets to get more benefits from me. And at the same time, the employer gets to save costs, because now I'm not coming to the office, so we are using less electricity, we are using less office space, we are using less paper in the office, and virtually all this becomes cost saving to the employer. So I mean, it's let me just say these are three of the benefits that comes with it. But then again, with the challenges, one of the major challenges has to do with the logistics. You know, if you are doing fully remote, then you need to make sure your employees are well set up with data, with with computers, laptops, with correct workstations, so you don't end up assisting a customer or a client, and then the internet start buffering, and you are wondering what is happening. So that logistical challenge, again, you are managing people. I remember in COVID when we were working remotely, and I needed some results from my team members. I could call people. Nobody's picking up. The one person picks up, and you can hear in the background, Kanish. This person is supposed to be in their house producing a report for me, and I'm hearing Kanish, unless the person lives at a bus station or at the bus stop. I'm wondering how this is possible, but that's the difficulty, managing people. I mean, if we're in the office space, I can just walk there and see them seated.
Right.
But now one person is in the USA, another person is in Kenya, another person is sitting somewhere in Israel, another person in Germany somewhere. And I'm working with all of these people, different time zones. When I am awake, some are asleep. When I am asleep, some are awake. You need to manage all these people at the same time to make sure that they are delivering. And you need to understand the various cultures from the various countries people are coming, so you can manage them. I mean, how you would manage an employee from Ghana would not be the same way you manage an employee from Japan, because some of them, the cultures in the country or the political arena can even shape cultures of the people. And so if you do not understand the various cultures, you would end up using one approach to want to handle everybody, and you'd rather mess up your team than bring it together. And so team management is one of the difficult things for team leaders who are managing cross-continent or managing people remotely. Another one is communication gaps. As if you're sitting in a meeting and I want to say something to you, Supernatural, I can see your body posture, I can see your face, and I know that this is not the right time to say it.
Yeah.
If you're doing remote work, I can't see that. And so I pay no attention to your emotions, I pay no attention to your feelings at that moment, and I just speak my mind because I feel I need to let this out. So in that way, somebody gets offended, and then now it brings a block, and somebody, I don't want to talk to this person again because he's insensitive and all those things. And it's mainly because we are working remotely. If somebody bottles up a pain, before I would just walk to the person's office and the person will say, oh, you have a problem with you. But remote work, I might never get to meet the person. So I don't know, the person is bottling up some pain, and the person is going through a lot of problems because of what I said, and I wouldn't know. And I would be going my way and thinking that, oh, all is well, until one day I need something, the person just blows up and tells me everything they want to tell me. So that's also one of the challenges the remote work faces. Again, team cohesion. I am working with people in my team who I don't know from anywhere. Today we go into a meeting, and then there's this gentleman who joins, and it's a German. We are having a meeting. The next day we come, so welcome our new team member. He's from Israel. I know him from nowhere. So there's that bond, and that relationship is not there. We are just working and we are just delivering. Nobody is concerned about the well-being of the other person. I don't see the person to see, oh, are you today? You don't look happy. Are you okay? What's going on, for the person to even tell me their problems or whatever difficulties they are having, so I can offer a word of advice. You don't get that anymore because we are all sitting behind the computer. We are all hard. We are busily typing and busily delivering, and nobody's paying attention to anybody's feeling. Again, one difficult or one painful part is with career progression when it comes to remote working. When you are recruited for A, the danger is that you might end up doing A forever, because when they need somebody to do B, we just advertise out there, and there's somebody out there who can do B better and will come in. And so you doing the A, you might end up doing the A forever until you jump from one company to another company to go and do B. And so career progression and career growth in particular companies, because of remote working is now becoming very difficult. Because, like I said before, there's a pool of talent out there. And so nobody really is. And again, I mean, you are working remotely and paying you X amount of money. There is a new position. I think that you are the best with what you are doing currently. I don't want to distort the team. So I'm okay with you doing what you are doing. Let me go and get somebody else come and do something else. Unlike before, where we are the search for a talent will be a bit limited, and so you are forced to move people internally upwards. In remote working, it limits that possibility. The last thing probably I'll talk about is the issue of trust, where you can't even see whether people are using all their time for your company's work or for something else. I mean, even when it's physical, people are coming to the offices and they are selling things in the offices.
Yeah.
There's a team member there who, during a 5 minutes break, is walking around and selling pastries. During some 10 minutes break, is walking around and is selling some shirt or some drink or something. So just imagine this same person working remotely, has one screen here for the company, has another screen here doing social media marketing and all those things. And so you can't fully trust that they are giving their all to the company within the period that they are there. So these are some of the problems or the challenges employers and should I say company owners are facing with remote work. Yeah.
So you mentioned team management being one of the challenges and also the communication gap. So I want you to share a few solutions or strategies that you think you can recommend to organizations to help them manage their teams to be productive and also for effective communication as well.
Right. So I think the first one I would say is that there needs to be a conscious effort to have in-person meetings. Conscious effort. If it means that once every quarter or once every half year, the company would organize for all team members to come in, maybe for a staff demo or a staff dialogue session where we see each other. Maybe for 2-3 days we have some meeting. The other 2 days we are just hanging out and having fun. So we get to see the people. Recently, I saw one of my friends or colleagues that I used to work with in an old company post him and his team members in Rome, and he works in Jamaica for the same company. Other ones, some in Israel, some in Germany, some in Bangladesh, different, but they don't know themselves. So I think in March or April, the company organized and they all met in Rome for I think 4 days. It was a Thursday to a Sunday, and they came together to have a social event, go out, the managers, the employees, so they saw each other. And when they went back, I mean, I was speaking to him on LinkedIn, and he was giving me feedback that they could see improvement because now when you are asking something from Supernatural can put a face and a personality to who is asking what. So they are always willing to do extra. People are chatting in the back and are friends and are keeping up and are even planning trips on their own. So now they are together. So I would say that there should be a conscious effort to have a periodic meeting or team bonding activities in person. Also, I think one of the things that can be done is to openly acknowledge people's achievements during meetings or during or internal communications. You know, if it's remote working, people want to feel like we belong here, we are cherished here. Yeah. The company sees or feels proud to have us as members of the company. And so it's important that small achievements, no matter how little or insignificant you think it is, you publish it, you make noise about it, you announce it for team members to know. I mean, if it's one deal that is closed, tell them that, oh, guys, this week we're able to close this deal thanks to Supernatural, who was fantastic. Oh, guys, this week this project has been completed. The project owners are very happy, and Kofi or Zubrim was our project manager. He handled it so wonderfully. So let's all give it up for Zubrim. these things keeps them going. They feel like they belong because they are distance. Somebody wakes up and just moves to his computer and it's working. He doesn't see anybody, so he doesn't even feel like he belongs to anybody or he belongs with anybody. But when you make these pronouncements and people are applauding and people are sending them messages in the back, congratulating them, it makes them feel that they are part of it. So I think mainly a conscious effort to communication, letting them know what the right path of communication is, who to speak to for what, who to ask for what. There are some people that you have to pick your phone and call them. That's their communication that works. There are some that you would have to send an email, it would work. There are some that in the morning you can just drop it in a group chat, they will see it. There are some if you put it in a group chat, they will never see it. So drawing the right communication channel for the team members so that you know what works for who and how to use as a team manager is one of the good ways or the effective ways to manage them. And then the last one I'll say is that you need to set clear objectives for your team members. Supervising remote work is difficult. And so if you don't set clean and clear objectives for them, you would keep going in circles and never get anything done. But there should be clear goals. At the end of this quarter, this is what I want to achieve from each and every one of you. And that's the clear goal. So I know exactly what I'm coming to you for when the time is right. So basically, these are some strategies that we can employ as employers to be able to improve on remote work.
Right. So I'm seeing a question from Emmanuel. Emmanuel says, how can you infuse remote work into manufacturing?
That's one of the greatest wonders we are still battling, especially if you are working on a plant where you would have to be physically present to ensure it is done. In some cultures, it's working. In some cultures now, because they are fully, they've like everything is automatic, everything is computerized. So production managers are able to sit in the comfort of their homes, use their gadgets, and instruct the machines to do whatever they are supposed to do. The warehouse people are able to instruct forklifts and the rest to go pick the things and put in stores. Then the value chain, those in stores are able to liaise with distributors who come there and then it's picked. So in some jurisdictions, because of the computerized system, it's very easy for you because they don't even need human beings to be operating the machines in the first place. So they just set the parameters in there, they click on it. There are robots who are picking things and arranging them. There's a camera, somebody being supervising and making sure that everything is in order. But in our part, it will be a bit difficult. It will be difficult because, hey, even I've gone to some offices in this country that you have people standing in elevators and they control the elevators for people who enter. This is an elevator. If I enter the elevator and I want to go to first floor, I know to press 1. If I'm going to third floor, I know to press 3. But there's somebody standing in there. When you enter, he asks you, which floor, please? When you say 1, the person presses it for you. And we have buildings like that in this country. So in this part of the country, we throw people at problems. We don't throw solutions at problems. So once there's a difficulty, we just throw people. Go and solve it. Again, mainly because of the gap in unemployment, we are struggling or we are reluctant to use machines or automation or robots or computerized systems to replace human beings. So, Emmanuel, in this part of our world, it might take us a bit of time. Mainly, even some of the plants that we are using are plants that even when you bring the ones who put the plants together to come to Ghana, they would wonder how old these plants are. So, but for the management staff, yes, they will be able to do it easily. But remote work to manufacturing in Ghana or in Africa, I think it will take us a bit of time. And that's if we grow and move into a computerized system.
Right. Thank you for that. So at this moment, we'll go for a short break. And this is the right moment for you to share the link if you haven't shared it yet so that we get others join in this conversation. Go for a short break and then we'll come back and dive into the remaining aspect of this conversation. You are welcome back, right? I see Bernard. Nice to have you join this conversation. I see Benedine. I'm watching from Tema Community 20. Nice. I see Samad Seidu. I hope I'm pronouncing your names rightly. Listening live from WA. Great and educative program. That's my head of HR, Bank of Africa, right? Okay, so there's also a question from Emmanuel again. Emmanuel is asking the skills one needs in remote work. So we just do that briefly and then we continue the conversation.
Okay, so the skills you need for remote working, I mean, they are more behavioral than technical, because for your technical skills you would have them. So the skills you need mainly for remote work are behavioral. You need to know how to manage your time. The truth is that if you are not careful, remote work can take all of your time, and it can actually even be a nightmare for you, because you will not have an opening time or a closing time. So time management is key in remote working. I mean, knowing when to get up from your computer to take a stretch, knowing when to get up to take your lunch, knowing when to go off screen and save yourself some screen time. All that is important. So time management is good. Another skill that you will need is how to prioritize. There are a lot of activities that you're supposed to deliver. So being able to know which is more critical, which is more essential, which needs to come before which is very important with remote working. Then I'll probably speak on being a professional. So professionalism, you are not being monitored. Nobody is sitting on you, or nobody is chasing you for reports on daily basis. Nobody is standing at your door and screaming. In this instance, you are your own manager. It's even possible the whole country, you might be the only person working for that company in Ghana. So you are the sole representative of that company in Ghana. You can do anything you want to do and nobody will see. And so your professionalism and sense of self-awareness is key for you to be able to deliver as expected. Then yes, your computer proficiency. I mean, if you are working remotely from your home, then you would need to be computer proficient, because you are going to do a lot of meetings online. You're going to do a lot of report writing. You're going to do a lot of internet-based activities and research. So you need to have a bit of computer and appreciation, or IT appreciation. So basically, these are soft skills that you would need for remote working. But key is time management. It's important. Else, before you raise your head, it's dusk. You raise your head again, it's dusk. You might not have slept over 4 days, because you are keen in wanting to deliver, especially if you are working in a country like, let's say, you are in Ghana and you are working for a company in New Zealand. You know the time difference. So if you don't take care, you'll be awake, and they will be sleeping, and Ghana is awake. So now you find yourself moving around with everything in Ghana, watching TV because it's Ghana. Then just when Ghana is sleeping, New Zealand is awake, and now you have to stay awake, and it's not good for your health. So time management and professionalism is key. Two key skills needed for remote work.
Right. So, Kojo, I think earlier on when you were recommending some of solutions for the challenges in implementing remote work, you spoke about how we can once a while have an on-site meeting so that everyone have a sense of belonging, right? So with this sense of belonging, aside that, I'm looking at the fairness for the remote worker and the in-office worker. So how can we ensure that there is fairness between
Right. So I mean, you have two groups of people who are working. One working remotely, and then one working in person. Yeah, in the office. And these two are supposed to achieve same or similar output. So the first thing I'll say with fairness is that make sure that in your performance management system, you are actually measuring outcome, and you would have to probably use the outcome based approach of performance management. where you are looking at the key results of what they are doing, whether the person is in person or on call or remote. Your performance management style should be more of measuring the key results, the outcome of the deliverables, rather than the physical presence or the virtual presence of people, or the fact that somebody's in your office and you get to send to do certain things for you, or you get to ask them on errands. And so those are the things you consider for the performance management. That would not be fair. So your performance management matrix should be on outcome. What are you supposed to achieve? Did you achieve it? That's basically what you're looking at. You can also look at a fair and equal way of disseminating information. You don't necessarily come and stand in an office and say something to your team members and tell them that please call your friends or call your colleagues who are home and make them aware. If you don't call them, they don't have that information. And so when it comes to access to information, it should be equal for all. If you're sending an email, send an email to everybody. If you stand in front of the office to tell those who are physically present to do something, then you have to make sure that once you are done, those who are not physically present, you pass the same information across to them, so that they all have the same access to information and use it the way they would want to use it for the betterment of their job. Again, if those working remotely, you're supposed to make sure that whatever tools they need to work are made available for them. If you tell them that, well, you want to work from home, so get your own laptop. At the end of the day, the speed is not coming as expected. Because of that, you penalize them during their performance appraisal or their performance evaluation. You are not being fair. And so you're supposed to make sure that whatever tools they need to be able to work are made available to them, just like you have given to those who are physically present. Now, when you're having meetings, you have to make sure that your meetings are inclusive. Always have at the back of your mind that there are people who have joined online who are also part of the meeting. So you don't turn off microphones and are having discussions in-house as if nobody online is matters. If it's a meeting for all, then those joining online should be part of the meeting. Microphones should be part, because if you were physically there, you would have said it in their presence. So if they are virtually away, there's no point turning off your microphone to do some in-house discussions before you let them know what you are discussing. I mean, you let them feel like whatever it is you are discussing is about them, or you are not having their interests at heart. Again, try as much as possible, or the companies have to try as much as possible to form project group or resource groups where it's made up of people who are virtual and people who are physical. Put them together in groups to achieve certain projects, or to come out with certain solutions for problems that you have. If you concentrate or you keep on giving it to those who are physically present, those who are remote will feel left out, and they will not feel like they are part of the company. But when they know that, okay, there's a project, we have members in present, those virtually available, being put together, it makes them feel like they belong to the company. So maybe one other thing that I would touch on would be I mentioned earlier, the opportunity for growth. Not to limit the opportunities for growth to those you see physically, because they are the ones you see every day. And so you say, I can vouch for A, B, C, and B. When there's an opportunity, advertise and allow everybody apply for it. And let the most competent person get it after they've gone through your recruitment process. So basically, I'll speak about this. I mean, there are a lot of things you can do. You can put in policies that would make things flexible for everybody. You can put up a good feedback system where those who are having problems can actually use that feedback system to talk. You can have a technical support team at the head office or at wherever you are, who are readily available to give support to those who are remote, so that they are always available and ready to want to work. So basically, these are some of the things that you can do to ensure fairness in the company between those working remote and those working in office.
Yeah, Emmanuel was trying to clarify something. He said, how can you measure performance with remote work as compared with in-office employees. He says, I'm asking this because with remote, I can get someone to do my work for me, which is at a disadvantage to the in-office worker.
Okay. But why for me? Why is it even a bother for me as an employer? I'm giving you a job to do. You're going to get somebody to do it for you, and you've come to me, and the thing you've done for me is good. I'm okay. Bottom line is, I want results. You've given it to me. One day we'll catch up with you. Until I know I really don't have a problem with me. I mean, I need 5 bags of, or I need 3 reports prepared. You get your child who has, or your brother's friend who's a university professor, and he does an excellent report for me. I'll clap. I'm good. I like that report. But like I said, I'm not going to use just your output alone for career progression for you. When there's a vacancy or there's an opportunity, I'm asking everybody to compete equally. So if you are half baked and you don't have substance, when that time comes, it will tell. And again, like I said earlier, remember I mentioned that there should be periodic in-house meetings and all those things. When they come and discussions are ongoing, you will definitely get to know, but this guy gave me a wonderful and fantastic report, but we are having a discussion around this topic and his depth is very little. It gives you cause to worry and see that, okay, maybe there's something not right. Again, most of your meetings you are doing with this person is in camera. I mean, you are doing it online with your camera stand on. So if you are discussing your report you brought to me, and I'm looking in your face and you're supposed to explain the report you brought to me, if you've studied it very well to be able to sell it to me, I really don't have a problem with that. I mean, people use Chat GPT to develop a report. So if my Chat GPT is a human being, why am I worried? I really don't care. It's how you are able to use that report to do what I want you to do for me that matters. So if your best friend or your spouse develops it for you and I meet you in the meeting, I'm asking you questions and you can explain and sell it. It's not the best of lawyers who do the report. Most of the lawyers who we clap for, they don't have an idea how the report or the research work that went into what they use at court came. But when the paper comes to them, when they go to court and they are presenting, it's as if it's from their head. It's not. Right. So Emmanuel, I don't know, maybe some of employers will be worried, but for me, I really don't worry my head about it. I need this to be done. Do it for me. Because the person in the office also probably could have called a friend that, Charlie, do this for me and send it to me, email, and let me show it to my boss. So I count results. I count outcomes, basically.
All right. So you also spoke about career progression being one of the key challenges in remote work. So I'm looking at how can HR professionals support remote workers in terms of their professional development and their career growth.
I mean, one of the things you can do is to get both your remote and even your in-person staff to subscribe to online courses or online webinars, to be part of virtual meetings to prepare them for development. You can get them to subscribe to certain network communities where they would have discussions in regards to the profession they are in. You can make available digital resources to them. The company can build a library online where you're putting all your soft materials in there for them to read, to be able to deliver. You can have necessary tools and softwares that will aid in learning, it will aid in development. You can draw clear career paths for them. In the company, everybody should have a career path where you're drawing that, okay, if you are working this role, if you do A, B, C, and D, this is where you can land yourself in. But to get there, you need to build A, B, C, D competence in these areas. Once those career paths are there and people know that, okay, this is where I want to end. Tomorrow, I don't want to be the guest on SEDAT HR Digest. I want to be the host. So to be the host, what it means that I need to do A, B, C, and D. I need to probably learn how to be asking questions, listening to the person speak. As the person is speaking, know how I can ask the next question. So these are the skills I need to develop. I need to develop these skills in waiting. When that vacancy comes and is advertised, I can apply for it. And so clear career paths needs to be drawn for people. And finally, I would say that you need to give feedback to people. Do periodic performance reviews and give feedback. A remote employee will think that I'm doing all I'm supposed to do. Nobody has told me nothing. But does not know that they are not progressing. So it's important to have an effective and a regular performance review session with them over a period where you are actually giving them feedback, things that they did not do right, what they can do better, letting them know what opportunities exist in the company and what they need to do to be able to fill these vacancies or take up these opportunities. So basically, to be fair or to ensure their professional development, these are some of the things that you can do as an employer to improve upon their chances.
Amazing. Thank you for that. Also, soon we are rounding up the session. So I'm looking at in the next 2, 3 years, 4 years, how do you see remote work um, revolving, right? And also, how can organizations ensure that they maintain a strong culture in a remote setting in the next 2 to 3 years?
Okay, so in Ghana, in the next 2 to 3 years, I don't see any massive change.
So far, are you sure?
I mean, oh, I don't see any massive change in the next 2 3 years. Maybe we can talk about 5 years and above, but the next 2 3 years, I mean, the next 2 years is just like 6 months, 18 months away.
Right.
Uh, I really don't think anything massive would happen in Ghana. However, what I think would happen more is that you get a lot of the workforce seeking to do remote work for companies outside. What I fear is employees who will be working physically in Ghana, and when they close and are supposed to go and sleep, because probably America is awake, they'll be working remotely for America online. So they come to work the next day and they are half asleep. That's what I fear. Because you see a lot. I mean, when you go on LinkedIn, you go on all these job um, uh, site where this how do you call it? I mean, those recruitment pages. You see a lot of international and global companies recruiting, and a lot of Ghanaians are pursuing professional certification courses mainly because they know those are courses that can easily make them employable by these companies. And employers outside, also international and global companies, like this kind of workforce because they don't have to go and worry about work permits and all those things for these people. They pay less taxes on these people. The tax regimes we have has not been able to properly factor in remote workers and so or remote working. And so it makes it a bit dicey. So some employers love this approach, especially those international and global companies. And so you're going to get a lot of the new workforce wanting to do remote work for companies outside Ghana, and to get more money would want to do in-person work for companies in Ghana. And that's the danger that we need to properly manage as a country to put standards and policies in place that would make it very difficult for people to do these things. Else, in the next 15 years, you have a very you have a workforce that is very younger than the 60 years pension or retirement age, but are already tired. Sorry, are already tired and have used all their youthful days in working double shifts and double jobs, and they are stressed. So yes, for me, I think that's the danger that would come with this if not properly regulated. The space is not properly regulated. Aside that, maybe 5 years, yes, I'm sure we would get more. Yeah, maybe 5 to 10 years. Within 5 to 10 years, I'm sure we will get more tech savvy companies, more digital companies, more IT based companies. When data also is a bit more affordable in this part of the world, you get more people being able to do remote work in Ghana. And when the culture changes, I mean, you know our culture, we like seeing people. Our culture here is when people see other people, that's where they are happy. So the reason why people like outdoorings, the reason why we like engagements, we like funeral parties, it's all because we want to go and see people. People don't, in some countries, people queue at ATMs while the banking halls are full. In Ghana, people queue in the banking halls while the ATMs are empty. And it's mainly because that is how our culture, we want to see people and talk to people. Ghanaians would always want to wake up and drive to the friend or the family's house and spend the whole day there chatting. Other than unlike other jurisdictions where even if you have to come to visit somebody, you need to book appointment even with your own mother or your own brother or your own friend. So we like seeing people. We like looking at faces of people. We like to be smiled to, like the way you are smiling right now. And so we would take a bit of time to shift from that culture. I mean, with the latter part of the Generation Y and then the Generation Z, who prefer to work anonymously, work in the background and nobody should see them, I'm sure the shift will happen. But it will take a minimum of 5 years or maybe around a decade for that shift to fully happen in this part of the world.
Right. I'm seeing a question from Jeffrey. I think you already touched on it a bit, but maybe he would want a bit of clarity again. He says, in this new age of AI, particularly the agentic AI, where there could be a mix of humans and digital employees, how can career growth and progression be enabled in an environment like the African continent, where very difficult cultures and work styles abound? You already.
I think I touched on it a bit, but yes, Jeffrey. I mean, in this part of our world, we suspect AI. we are already suspecting AI, that AI is already coming to take our jobs. So I mean, let me tell you a typical or a funny story. In my office space, I have mainly, should I say, 2 generations or 3 generations in there, and I have some national service guys who have just passed out and they've joined the team. So I needed some work to be done. I was bringing on board new employees, and so I wanted to do an aptitude test. So I walked to the national service person and told him that he should get me 20 sets of aptitude test questions. And by the time I finished speaking to him and I went to sit on my desk, he had sent it to me in my email. And I was amazed. I was like, how did this boy do? Because for me, I was going to go to Google, search, go through samples, read, do this. So I was amazed. And I read through the questions, and they were fantastic questions. I mean, they were a bit of mixed up in there because I'm sure the algorithms he put in there to ask for it, but they were fantastic. So I called him. In fact, I walked to the office and I said, how did he do it first? I started laughing. He said, Chat GPT. And I was like, okay, what algorithm did you put in there? When I read it, I was amazed. You know, he found for me in 2 minutes. What if I had asked other team members who were older to find for me? They would have probably taken me a day to get. You understand? So it's the work front is changing. AI is making work better, but at the same time, people are suspicious of AI because they feel if they keep falling on or depending on AI, it would make the human resource extinct. And so people want to actually penalize people for using AI to produce reports. I mean, I'll stretch it, but if you are in the university or you are in the school and you are given an assignment and use AI to generate it and you read through to make corrections, half of the time or 90% of the time it will be rejected because they say use what is in your head to prepare the report. But what we seem to forget is that when I went into AI, in the generative AI, I typed something from my head to determine the output. And when the output came, I took time to go through to sift it to make it suit my situation. So I just didn't lift and bring it to you. I did a bit of work on it. I did a bit of review of it before I submitted it. But we are suspicious of AI. And our culture makes us very, 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 very protective of our boundaries.
Yeah.
The typical African is such that when I am doing this thing, I don't want anybody to know how to do this, so you can take it away from me and I become redundant. So now that we know that the thing that you know AI can do and do it better for you, we become suspicious of AI. And so that's the difficulty. But again, like I mentioned, the new generation and then the latter part of the millennials are accepting of this. And knowing that they are going to be the next phase of the workforce in employment, the next phase of the employers in employment, I do not fear to say that we would see a very good collaboration between the two, and our culture would no longer be a barrier to such collaboration in the workspace. So Jeffrey, I don't know if I've answered you, but technically that's the state of affairs when it comes to that.
All right, let's just take this last question from Elaine. She says, do you anticipate remote work not being patronized in the near future?
Well, I think, and again, I pray I'm alive to see what I'm saying today, but I am confident that from 2029 to the 2025 thereabout, 2020, 35, 33 thereabout, I'm sure we'll see a lot of remote work.
Right.
I'm sure we see a lot of remote work happening, mainly in Ghana, and it will even probably be domestic companies doing a lot of remote work, because we are getting a lot of these tech companies come up, and these companies are asking employees to do less work in the office and more at home. I'm sure when the environmental or sustainability drive gets to Ghana very much, and we have very good internet and electricity dependence, we would move away from even using more lights in the offices to want to stay at home to work. So I'm sure there's going to be a time where it would be very much accepted and embraced. So I don't think we'll shy away from it completely, but I strongly believe that it's not going to be in the next 3 or 4 years.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you so much, Mr. Kojo. It's really been an insightful conversation with you. And I want to thank everyone for joining us. Thank you, Priscilla. Thank you, Elaine. Thank you, Mr. Jeffrey. Thank you, Anita. Thank you, Krantima. Thank you, Anita again. Thank you, Nanaya. I see you all. Thank you so much for joining us. So once again, this is SEDAT HR Digest, and we have this program every Sunday at 4 p.m. and we'd love to have you join us every time we go live, and always share the link so that we get others on board with us, right? Just a few programs we are going to be having in the next few days. We have an upcoming program, SEDAT Consults, upcoming training in our Kumasi office, which will be on the June 26th to 27th on building a competitive grading system and salary structure. Do well to register for this training. And we are having soiree once again in August. That will be at the British Council Auditorium. Time for us to relax, time to say that work, hold on for a while, that party time. Coach, I look forward to seeing you. The way you started dancing.
I'll join remotely.
Oh, no. This one, there's no remote in this.
Unless you promise that you save me a dance.
We'll talk about that after the.
Okay.
Right. So thank you all so much for joining us. We are so glad to have you. See you in our next episode.